Good evening, a very warm welcome to you. Thanks for joining us. This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Ruth Aguela. The Nigerian International Petroleum Summit, key players say, has countered to serve as a strong platform that has fostered engagement amongst industry players from the private and public sectors to create vast opportunities for the industry to thrive. Well, the summit has also promoted Nigeria's oil and gas industry and enormous opportunities within Nigeria's energy sector. That is attracting global investment, sustaining strategic gathering of industry leaders despite health and global crisis created by the COVID-19 pandemic that shook the entire world. Key players say this is born out of the resolve of maintaining Nigeria's leading role in hydrocarbons in Africa. Various speakers are optimistic that with the steady progress may be made globally, 2022 will be a year of recovery for the oil and gas industry. A turn now to other issues. Protecting public infrastructure ignited emotions at a special town hall meeting held in Abuja. The Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed, who set the stage for the meeting, was categorical about the sad situation.
Railway tracks are being subjected to wanton destruction. Bridge railings are being removed. Manhole covers are being pilfered. Street lights and other power infrastructure, oil pipeline, telecoms facilities, and critical aviation infrastructure are being damaged or stolen on a daily basis.
Ministers of Transportation, Works, FCT and Aviation gave graphic illustrations of the situation and called on security agencies to rise in protecting these assets as they threaten the lives of innocent citizens. The Imo State Police Command says the attack on its command headquarters has resulted in the killing of the mastermind of a series of assaults on police formations in the state. The public relations officer Bala Elkana made this known to journalists after the latest attack on the police headquarters in Owerri. Let's hear more from Lorita Arinze-Egwem.
The attempted attack on the Imo State Command Headquarters early hours of Sunday, June 6, 2021 is one out of the many attacks targeted at individuals and facilities in Imo State. Briefing journalists in Owerri, the police public relations officer Bala Ekana says the attempted attack on the police command headquarters was successfully repelled through a multi-agency collaboration. He says the police special forces in synergy with the army, DSS and other forces engaged the attackers in a gun duel, which led to the killing of 5 of the bandits, while 1 was captured alive.
Here among the 5 is the dreaded, notorious dragon that everybody is talking about. He is the leader of the gang in Imo State. He is the one masterminding all the attacks we are seeing. He is the one coordinating it. He is the overall boss, leading the operations.
He urges anyone in custody of weapons possibly stolen by the bandits from security agencies to return them to the nearest police station or any of the military formations in the state on or before the 12th of June 2021, as anybody caught after the deadline will face the full weight of the law. One of the suspects captured alive confessed to the crime.
The policemen got me, and not only me, we are more than 5, we are more than 7.
Items recovered from the suspects.
We apologize for that abrupt end. Lorita there reporting, but still staying in Owerri as residents continue to worry over the spate of violent attacks in the state. The arrest of the only surviving member of the attackers of the Imo State Police Command headquarters has revealed that the group has funding from external forces, we hear. He made the revelation during interrogation in Owerri. Once again, Lorita Arinze-Egwem reports.
Stanley Osinachi is the surviving member of the gang which attempted to attack the Imo State Police Command Headquarters Owerri. The arrest of Osinachi, who hails from Mberi in Mbitolu local government area of Imo State, has brought about some level of revelation as to the funding of insecurity in the state. According to him, the group is heavily funded from abroad. He says they largely depend on the charms procured from Aguleri in Anambra State, stressing that they have been responsible for various attacks on police facilities in Imo State.
Sorry, nobody is coming to visit us. Rather, maybe our headman, our commander, Big Dragon, is the one that is moving to collect money. Money? From who? From who? Sometimes he thinks that people in abroad send money. Okay, people in abroad.
The police public relations officer, Imo State Command, Bala Ekana, assures of greater commitment to the fight against insecurity in the state.
If we are not working as a team, we wouldn't have achieved this feat. The DSS were giving us information, the army, nobody is looking at the difference in the uniform. We all look at ourselves as members of the same family who are here to restore peace to the people of Imo State.
Osinachi led the police to their hideout from where the female police officer kidnapped about 2 weeks ago in Oji was released. In Owerri, Loretta Rinzegwim, NTA News.
Let's look at other issues. The National Broadcasting Commission has directed all broadcasting stations in Nigeria to suspend the patronage of Twitter immediately. They install Twitter handles and desist from using Twitter as a source of information gathering for news and programs presentation, especially phoning. Now, this follows the suspension of Twitter operations in Nigeria by the federal government over the persistent use of the platform for activities that are capable of undermining the corporate existence of the country. In a statement, the Acting Director General of the NBC, Professor Armstrong Gidachaba, said the Commission is issuing the directive because the Section 2, Subsection 1 of the NBC Act entrusts the Commission with responsibility to ensure strict adherence to national laws, rules and regulations, while another section of the code provides that the broadcaster shall ensure that law enforcement is upheld at all times in a matter depicting that law and order are socially superior to or more desirable than crime and anarchy. The statement therefore appealed for strict compliance to the directive and noted that it will be unpatriotic for any broadcaster in Nigeria to continue to patronize the suspended Twitter as a source of its information. The headmaster of Tanku Salihu Islamia School, Tegina, has described as fake news a report on the social media platform suggesting that one of the kidnapped school's children is dead. Abdullahi Mohammed reports that this fake story has added to the anxiety of the parents of the Tegina adoptees.
It was on the social media platform that someone shared the story, and before daybreak, the headmaster has received dozens of visits and calls from some parents of the abductees seeking for explanations. And this breaks him down.
I'm talking to you now. I'm not happy at all. Wallahi, I'm not happy. I don't know what to explain. Wallahi, I didn't eat anything since morning. I'm not happy. They add pain back to the pain we are in already. We are in. I have forgotten when I slept proper.
The pains of Malan Garban or the parents of the abductees, observers say, is a reflection of pains inflicted upon millions of people across the world by those bent on propagating fake news. In Tegina, Rafi, local government area of Niger State, Abdullahi Mohammed, NTA News.
There must be justice for the University of Ilorin undergraduate Blessing Olajide, who recently met her untimely death as a result of rape. In a statement, Minister of Women Affairs Dame Pauline Talon describes as most disheartening, heinous, barbaric and condemnable report of the alleged rape and murder of the young, promising Blessing Olajide. The minister reiterates President Muhammadu Buhari's administration's resolve to ensure that perpetrators of rape do not go unapprehended and unpunished. She urges the Commissioner of Police in Kwara State, all sister law enforcement agencies in the state, such as the DSS and the university management, to immediately swing into discreet investigations and action to fish out the perpetrators and the collaborators of this dastardly act, with a view to bringing them to book. The minister condoles with the parents, family and friends of the victims, as well as the management of the University of Ilorin over the misfortune and loss. The family unit, they say, is the custodian of moral values in any society. And so with the prevailing moral decadence coupled with the insecurity in the society, Nigerians are advocating a revival of family values to build a total child for a responsible future. Let's hear more from Ifoma Aikoje.
In most circumstances, every child is born into a family, while some are adopted into the unit. Whichever, it is expected that a growing child should acquire some values from these important units of the society. However, religious, educational, social organizations, and the larger society also register some level of influence on any child, who then should be blamed for the alarming level of immorality, crimes, and criminality threatening the well-being of the society, especially among the younger generation.
Children are so over-pampered these days that by the time a child is in school and maybe a teacher do one or two things to make correction to correct the child for a better tomorrow, the parents take offense.
As a teacher, I've seen a lot of things that I ask myself questions if their parents are always there for them.
Surprisingly, even children hold similar opinion that the family has relaxed on its responsibility of imparting moral virtues in children, thereby resulting in the numerous atrocities committed by young people in recent times.
It's the parents that are making children more crazy these days because sometimes they are so busy and not being able to advise them.
When they report their children to the parents will deny that it's not their children that did that thing, while it's their children and they know it is their children.
A lot of children are on the streets. Most of them do not have education, and yet they grow up and become touts, and it's the parents' fault.
These young minds and some early childhood experts profile ways to curb the increasing moral decadence.
You should set time for your children. The children should not be abused.
The level of education should be more improved.
In Uyo, Ifoma Aikoje, NTA News.
Zamfara State is ranked 4th among states of the Federation with the highest number of candidates that participated in the just concluded 2021 National Common Entrance Examinations. Acting Executive Chairman of the State Universal Basic Education Board, Muhammad Muazu, stated this while commenting on the conduct of the examinations in 22 centers across the 14 local government areas of the state. Jamilu Ibrahim has more.
The National Common Entrance Examination is conducted annually by the National Examination Council (NECO) to admit suitably qualified pupils into Junior Secondary School 1 of the federal government unity colleges across the country. After more than 7 years of virtually non-participation of pupils from Zamfara State public schools in the annual examinations, the present administration of Governor Bello Muhammad, through the State Universal Basic Education Board, decided to change the narrative effective from last year, when the state ranked 14th against 37th position it had been occupying over the years. The feat has been consolidated this year as a total of 4,800 pupils were registered for the exams, which was held over the weekend in more than 20 centers across the 14 local government areas of the state. Acting Executive Chairman Zamfara State Universal Basic Education Board, Alhaji Muhammad Ma'azu Mutuzgi, says this year the state is ranked first in northern Nigeria and 4th amongst the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT.
Things had been lost, but now the glory is back. We are happy. We thank God that this administration has now actually mandated local government council to ensure that every year a great number of students are selected.
Some of the candidates who spoke with NTA News expressed satisfaction with the conduct of the exams.
So how was the exams?
Exams fine. It is fine. There was no problem. The exam was okay.
The examination was generally conducted peacefully in all the centers visited. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of Dr. Rukayetu Abdulkarim Gurung as Senior Special Assistant to the President on Administration and Women Affairs in the Office of the First Lady. She is a doctorate degree holder in curriculum instruction from the University of Maiduguri. She was at various times a lecturer at the University of Maiduguri, a deputy director at the National Universities Commission and a director at the National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, Kuru. Dr. Gurung, who was a senior lecturer at Bayes University in Abuja before her appointment, replaces Dr. Hajo Sani, who was recently appointed as Nigeria's delegate to the United Nations Educational and Scientific Organization in France. The president also approved the appointment of Dr. Mohamed Kamal Abdurrahman as senior special assistant to the president on health and development partners in the office of the First Lady. He holds a bachelor's degree in medicine and surgery from University of Maiduguri. He worked at the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital, Yola Specialist Hospital, Sito Bella Health Center in Swaziland, and at the National Agency for the Control of AIDS before his appointment as the personal physician to the First Lady in 2015 and reappointed in 2019. Dr. Abdurrahman will combine his new role with his position as the personal physician to the First Lady. Right, let's go on a first break, but when we come back, we'll be joining Awal Jabo in Lagos. Stay tuned.
Recently, both the president and vice president demonstrated leadership by being among the first Nigerians to have the AstraZeneca vaccine administered to them on live TV for all in the country to see. Subsequently, many federal ministers, political leaders and members of the Presidential COVID-19 Task Force have publicly taken the vaccine to follow in the footsteps of President Buhari and Vice President Oshibaja. To obtain it yourself, please go to the NPHCDA website. There is a link to click on in order to register and schedule your vaccination. In the meantime, please continue to wear face masks, wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and observe social distancing. This message was brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
Thank you for staying with NTA Nationwide. Across countries, the girl child has gone through several transitions. At first, she was relegated to the background culturally and academically. Generally, her evolution revolved around domesticity. Through the ages, however, the shake-up of some traditional stereotypes has seen the girl child blossom into a powerful force in all spheres of human endeavor. The irony of this positivity is that attention on the boy child is minimal, and this deficit tends to manifest as he navigates his way through a tough world. Imole Ayotokede Ogunfowora takes a look at the challenges limiting the potential of the boy child and how they can be surmounted.
My previous schools, they were punishing students because of something they did wrong. Then the boys, they flogged them without even pitying them, but the girls, they spared them.
And the female child, they get more attention.
Tomorrow's husbands and fathers there, sharing some of their issues, they have come to realize that the deliberate attention given by society to the girl child invariably places them at a disadvantage. Nkiru Ugwadimma, a mother of 3 boys, argues that children go through same phases irrespective of gender and must therefore cross same hurdles in character molding.
The boy child is also raped. They're not talking about it. We need to begin to speak up to them to talk about these issues. A man bottles up a lot, and because he bottles up a lot, then he will just come out and become a violent person. We don't want that anymore.
The popular public opinion is that minor concern for the boy child, who is assumed as capable due to masculinity, has led to a deterioration in his overall performance.
When you talk about violence and so on and so forth, it is fostered by men. When you talk about societal ills, it is fostered by men. When you talk about things that arrest our development as a nation, as a people, it is fostered by men.
The girl child that you have raised properly may end up marrying the boy child you did not raise. And so you find a lot of disoriented young men who are not balanced in their upbringing, young men who are not balanced in their development. And so what you find is that they do things that you would wonder whether something isn't wrong with them. But a lot of times it's not their fault. It's because somebody didn't do a proper job.
We have to inculcate character development as part of what we're working on with the students. Not only are we focusing on, of course, academic fields and academic sphere, but we're looking beyond that.
Onkiro believes that every child deserves the right to thrive, be loved, and granted the basic rudiments to succeed. In Lagos, Imole Ayotukede, Ogunfowora, NTA News.
And now to health. As Lagos State strategizes ahead of possible new wave of COVID-19 pandemic, the House of Assembly is working on amending a bill to enhance the capacity of health workers across the state. This came to the fore at a public hearing to intimate stakeholders with the contents of the bill. Musa Toliat has details.
The bill, titled "A Law to Repeal and Reenact the Lagos State College of Health Technology and for Connected Purposes," is subjected to public hearing to get the input of stakeholders with a view to having a strong legislative backing for training of health workers in the state. Speaker, Lagos House of Assembly, Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, who was represented, stated that the essence of the amendment is to make the bill more functional in line with global best practices, which require sustainable capacity building of health workers.
In the olden days, this technology always provide, as it were, nurses, technologies that can manage or man the primary health facilities across the nation. But nowadays, there is need for us to rejig and to make it more functional for the benefit of all.
The institution already has a flurry of different categories and levels of education that they offer. But the new bill hopes to expand on what they offer.
They actually accommodated almost everything that we have been praying for, but just in a little bit of addition in the area of the staff emoluments and staff welfare.
The Lagos House of Assembly is proposing the amendment of the bill which established the Lagos State College of Health Technology in 1920. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
And for more reports on Nationwide, it's back to Ruth in Abuja. Ruth?
Thank you very much, Awal. The World Health Organization says an estimated 600 million illnesses and 420,000 deaths that occur every year globally are due to foodborne diseases. The World Food Safety Day therefore seeks to draw attention to the dangers of unsafe food to humanity. Let's hear more from Uche Ogochukwu.
Food is one of the essential necessities of life. It is in recognition of this that the UN General Assembly celebrates the day by drawing attention to its safety and responding to the global burden of foodborne diseases which affect people of all ages, especially children under 5 years and persons living in low-income countries.
Though it's evident that COVID-19 has not been transmitted by food, The pandemic has sharpened the focus on food safety-related issues, such as hygiene, antimicrobial resistance, zoonotic diseases, climate change, food fraud, and the potential benefits of digitalizing food systems.
In Nigeria, an estimated 173 million cases of diarrhea and 33,000 deaths are attributed to contaminated foods. The 2021 theme, Save Food Today for a Healthy Tomorrow, therefore brings to bear the need for concerted efforts in saving lives to ensure immediate and long-term impact on safe production and consumption of food.
We envision a world where all people, especially the most vulnerable, have access to safe, nutritious food. So we therefore believe that food cannot be nutritious if it is not first safe for consumption.
The efforts on food safety have been irregular and reactionary, coming in the wake of major outbreaks of foodborne disease or food adulteration scandals. What is urgently needed, therefore, is sustained and sustainable investments in building our capacity to manage food safety risks from farm to table through an improved teamwork between the public sector, private sector, consumers, and other different stakeholders.
The day is also considering food production supply chain and its contribution to the economy, tourism, and sustainable development. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
Right, let's now join Ogochukwuka Ona in Benin for some more reports from that end.
Thank you, Ruth. Welcome to Benin. Ekiti State government has put on hold for 3 months the approved consequential adjustment of the minimum wage for officers on grade levels 7 to 12, which commenced implementation in January this year. This is the fallout of the agreement reached with the leadership of the organized labor with the state government following the shortfall in their allocations from the federation account. Kola Adebobuyi reports that the salaries of political office holders and accounting officers were also slashed by 25% for 3 months.
All right, Benin seems to be having a challenge there. We may join them, definitely, maybe, in the course of the bulletin. But let's pick up from here. The federal government is to rebuild the 42 INEC offices attacked from 2019 to date. National Security Advisor Major General Babagana Monguno stated this while receiving a fire truck from the Federal Fire Service donated to INEC headquarters in Abuja. Mia Ogidi reports.
It may not withstand the guns, but can respond to the flames and control the level of damage. Out of the 42 fire incidents, 18 are arson, so appropriate for the battle.
We are all in a country where we know what is prevalent now. It is on this premise the Federal Fire Service is deploying this state-of-the-art firefighting truck to the INEC headquarters and the entire Maitama vicinity.
At the same time, it directed its state offices to take additional proactive measures around other INEC facilities nationwide.
The 3 men leading the battle to end attacks on INEC facilities are optimistic of victory.
President Muhammadu Buhari also, in the weeks to come, he will do whatever he can to reactivate the already destroyed properties of INEC, of course, within the confines of legality, to suppress any acts of criminality, destruction of public property.
I think we need to take into cognizance right from the building stage what we need to do or what we need to put in place.
Meeting for the second time in a week, hoping to meet again soon. Mayor Ogede, NTA News.
All right, let's take a second break. When we come back, we'll be joining Larry in Ibadan. He's going to pick up from where we left it.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth Entrepreneurship Support Years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
It's the dawn of a new era on NTA's flagship program, the Sports Parliament, revitalized with lots of varieties, including feedback responses from viewers. Sports Parliament, the weekly sports show that exposes all the intrigues in the Nigerian sports sector and projects an agenda on the way forward for Nigerian sports. On NTA every Thursday at 10:30 p.m. running for 1 whole hour discussing sports. The parliamentarians are more committed than ever to enlighten the viewers as the Sports Parliament takes it to a whole new level on the floor of the House. Keep a date with the Sports Parliament as motions are moved every Thursday on the floor of the House. Mr. Speaker, with his gavel to harmonize sports resolutions. The House have it.
Nationwide, and welcome to Ibadan. The federal government has re-emphasized commitments to mitigating the growing concern of greenhouse effect on the environment towards ensuring human and socio-economic development. The Minister of Environment, Mohammed Abubakar, gave this assurance during a working visit to Forestry Research Institute of Nigeria, FRIN, Ibadan. Kemi Oshin has the report.
Man towards urbanization and development have continued to impact negatively on the ecosystem. The Minister of Environment, Mohammed Abubakar, said only effective management of the ecosystem will determine the level of progress and health of the environment and the people. To this end, the federal government is even more committed to implementing eco-friendly policies, such as the Great Green Wall Program, gas flare regulations, and tree planting targets, among others, to reset humanity with nature.
We are thinking about looking at the issues in wet markets around the country, because that is also issue of biodiversity. The country is doing so much. All this planting of trees, making sure we restore the ecosystem, has so much to do with biodiversity.
The easiest way recovery is to plant. Just to plant and continue to plant, and that's why we're saying in whatever occasions you are doing, instead of doing party, doing all of that, why don't you make a commitment that if you are remembering your birthday, then plant.
While on a working visit to FRIN, Ibadan, the minister also inaugurated some key projects and led other dignitaries to plant trees in commemoration of the World Environment Day. In Ibadan, Kemi Oshin, NTA News.
2 Division Nigerian Army Ibadan has emerged winner of the 2021 Corporal and Below competition held in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital. Raliat Ibrahim has more.
The activities contested are drill, weapon handling, combat swimming, combat racing, navigation, and obstacle crossing. The 2 divisions in Ibadan topped the medal table with a total of 550 points. 32 Artillery Brigade Akure came second, while 22 Armor Brigade Ilorin and 4th Brigade Benin came third and fourth, respectively. The General Officer commanding 2 Division of the Nigerian Army expressed hope that the games have strengthened them to perform optimally in their duties.
The vision of the Chief of Army Staff is a professional Nigerian army ready to accomplish assigned missions within a joint environment in defense of Nigeria. This, we have to see that it is fully actualized in 2 divisions where we are. With the training we have done, I believe we are better fine-tuned.
Kwara State Governor Abdurrahman Abdulrazak restated his administration's commitment to supporting the military and other security agents, noting that their tasks have become more challenging due to the security situation in the country.
We know your role, we know your duties, but you've been pulled back to do what is normally not your normal role and called to service. We thereby stress that your work keeps us together.
High point of the closing ceremony was the presentation of trophies and souvenirs. Raliat Ibrahim, NTA News.
Let's now rejoin Ruth in Abuja for continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you very much, Larry. All right, earlier we told you about the World Food Safety Day, which has been celebrated today. Well, we want to bring that back because we have a guest in the studio. Of course, you know the day looks at a way of creating awareness on unsafe foods, preventing unsafe foods for humanity. Our guest is Mr. John Atanda, National Coordinator, Food Atonda, I beg your pardon, Food Safety and Quality Program from the Federal Ministry of Health. Thank you very much for joining us.
It's a pleasure being here.
All right, now, how would you say the theme for this year, which is safe food for a healthy tomorrow, plays out in a country like Nigeria, where we get to see, unhygienic local markets. We see people eat in open places. What would you say?
I will say that that is the essence of even declaring a day like this for such to address the issue of such, like sensitizing the entire world about the safety of food we eat, and then that to let people know that there is no need for us to ensure the safety of the food through our practices, with food safety practices at different level, both at even during cultivation, at every set of the part of the supply chain, stage of the supply chain, whether the production, whether the processing, even the consumption. So that is the essence of declaring that's why the WHO, United Nations, declare June 7 of every year as the day of World Food Safety Day. We already have World Food Day. That's October 16 of every year, but for food safety of that food, because not only food security issue now, provision of food now, but the safety of that food. So everybody have to be aware about it, and then you have to practice what makes that food to consume to be safe.
And talking about practicing, does the ministry wait for a day like this before ensuring that some measures are being put in place to ensure the safety of our foods? Or are there a regular routine of ensuring the safety of foods?
Yes. Okay. There's a structure on ground that the Federal Ministry of, especially Federal Ministry of Health, dedicated. We have a whole department for Food and Drug Service Department, and then we have a National Food Safety and Quality Program, which have developed a national policy on food safety and its implementation, which have been implemented all along. So that's based on that one, they have the provision of the policy to ensure food safety in the country, established National Food Safety Management Committee, comprising of all the major stakeholders in the food industry, on the food sector. We have the SON, Standard Organization of Nigeria, we have NAFDAC, we have Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Services, even Customs, Science and Tech, all different agencies. It's made up of almost about 40-something members that anybody, every organization has to do with food safety in the country. So that structure is there. And then, we have...
So what measures, aside the structure now, what measures to reach out to the public? Because we see these foods on display on our local markets, in our local markets. Yes. And we see people eat, in open places that are unhygienic. So what, practical steps are being taken?
Well, one of the things that the agencies, some agencies that are concerned, there are different, every agency of government have different mandates. Yes. So
but there's collaboration.
There's a collaboration. That's why I say that's what that National Food Safety Management Committee could do. It coordinates all the activities of all the agencies involved in the issue of safety and food safety. So that's why the issue of environmental, the state government have their roles to play. You know, some of those things that the local government have their role to play. The local government have their role to play, and then some of these mandates fall under some local governments.
Okay, cool.
You know, some of these informal food markets, you realize that they're under a particular local government, which need that all these local governments need to wake up to their responsibility. The state governments to wake up to their responsibilities. So that's a lot of sensitization and awareness. You know, most of these things have to do with culture, the behavioral practice, and then coupled with ignorance in some cases.
Okay.
So that's why the role of sensitization have been strengthened.
Okay.
The federal government have been doing the sensitization and awareness,
okay,
and ensuring that those practices are discouraged.
Okay, so what would you be saying to Nigerians on a day like this? Beyond today, how do we ensure that our foods are safe if we want to protect humanity for a better tomorrow?
Yes. So with me, you know, when we say food safety is everyone's business.
Yes.
And then some saying that say what you eat, or what you eat is what you are. What you are is what you eat, or thereabout, or something like that. So it means that we need to be conscious of our food, the temperature, we keep the food at home, the hygiene practice. Are you getting me? The hygiene practice as an individual. Before you eat your food, wash your hands before processing. Then the environment, the environment be healthy, be clean. So everybody be aware, be conscious of the safety of the food we eat. Okay. Then by ensuring that we live a healthy life.
Indeed.
A healthy practice.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. John Atonda. Thank you very much for your time. Let's continue to ensure that our foods are safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's look at all the issues just coming in. President Muhammadu Buhari has formally granted audience to the acting chief of Army Staff, Major General Farouk Yahaya, urging the military to spare no efforts at dismantling obstacles to national security and stability. We'll bring you that report in our subsequent bulletin. But let's look at another one. Foreign state actors in Nigeria are rallying round the Nigerian government on the recent ban of Twitter and sustaining diplomatic support towards achieving national peace and development. Now, this was during a high-level solidarity visit they paid on the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Jeffrey Onyama. That report will also come in our subsequent bulletin. Firewood and charcoal are major sources of cooking energy in rural Nigeria, which depletes natural ecosystem through deforestation. As a way of reducing reliance on the use of these cooking fuels, Rural Women Energy Security has developed and is distributing clean cooking stoves to women in rural communities in Nigeria. World Environment Day 2021 doubled as an opportunity for the group to support global advocacy for ecosystem restoration by promoting reforestation, tree planting, and use of alternative sources of energy for cooking in Nigeria.
Briquettes that enables them to continue to cook without using firewood. And so what we're trying to empower women to do is teach them technologies that will enable them eradicate poverty.
Not only women that raise us empower, even the men has been empowered. I believe they have so many good programs that we are enjoying, and we continue to enjoy it forever and ever.
Cooking activities is something that happens in a daily, and we just have to come up with ideas. If we want to stop people from illegal cutting down of our trees for firewood, then we need to provide alternative to the use of charcoals and firewood for our daily cooking activities.
Planting tree is one thing, but taking care of existing trees is another thing. We have to look at the way to take out all the mistletoe on existing trees in order for them to survive and to have a longer lifespan.
Our Benin Network Center and the Chuku is now ready for us.
Joining us, Ekiti State Government has put on hold for 3 months the approved consequential adjustments of the minimum wage for officers on grade levels 7 and 12, which commenced implementation in January this year. This is the fallout of the agreement reached with the leadership of the organized labor with the state government and following the shortfall in the allocations from the Federation accounts. Kola Adebobuyi reports that the salaries of political office holders and accounting officers were also slashed by 25% for 3 months.
The decision for putting on hold the approved consequential adjustment of the minimum wage for the affected officers was reached after the state government made presentation of its financial position and pattern of expenditure based on the dwindling revenue from the Federation accounts. The state head of service and the representatives of the organized labor said the agreement on the adjustments became necessary to accommodate the state's income and to meet the salaries payment of workers.
With the purposeful leadership of His Excellency the Governor, that we are going to navigate out of this difficult phase, and everyone in Ekiti State, including workers that have been toiling all around the clock, would experience comfort.
State government reiterated its commitment to workers and shall not downsize the workforce or retrench any worker as a result of the financial challenges facing the state.
The state's political office holders and other top government functionaries are also to make sacrifice of 25% reduction of their monthly salaries for 3 months, effective from the month of May, while the monthly running grants released to ministries, departments and agencies on monthly basis be reduced to reflect the latest economic realities. In Nigerian, Kola Adebobuyi, NTA News.
And now the face-off between the Ondo State government and medical doctors in the state hospitals has started taking its toll on healthcare delivery, as about 105 medical doctors have resigned from government services in the last 1 week. Olubunmi Iroju has details.
The strained relations between Ondo State government and medical doctors was largely caused by irregular payments of salaries and payment of half salaries by government. As at the last count, 50 medical doctors resigned from the State Hospital Management Board in the last few months, while 105 doctors have turned in their letters of resignation from the state's teaching hospital.
A lot of our doctors are moving to other neighboring states where the salaries are regular, because we are the only state in the southwest that have being hold salaries. The people on ground, they are not being paid and they have a lot of workload. So we are working on credit. So all we are just saying is that we should just be paid our salaries.
For now, doctors at the state-owned University of Medical Sciences Teaching Hospital, Akure, are offering skeletal services to only emergency cases.
Attended by the doctors and nurses, but they were complaining that they didn't pay them. They were not happy self. They just forced themselves to work. We are begging them to work.
Money that they pay in bit by bit. At times, one cannot even really plan well with that money. It's not the best thing.
Patients and residents appeal to the government and the doctors to reach a compromise in the interest of the people. In Akure, Olubunmi Iroju, NTA News.
And Ruth has more on Nationwide.
The Buhari administration has been commended for critical interventions in the water sector, including the completion of 34 abandoned water projects nationwide, in addition to many new projects initiated. Guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria note that the nation is certainly not where it used to be in the water sector. Thomas Ogbetere has the report.
6 years ago, the water sector was in need of an overhaul, with moribund projects lingering for as long as 20 years. President Muhammadu Buhari's decision to declare a state of emergency eventually led to the completion of 34 hitherto abandoned water projects. A new national irrigation policy framework, as well as a robust partnership for expanded water, sanitation, and hygiene P-Wash campaign encouraged private sector investment in the sector, especially in the rural areas.
One of the components of P-Wash is what we call water and sanitation entrepreneurship. The idea is to promote young people or anybody, the people from the private sector, to be able to invest money, to build water schemes, to build sanitation facilities like toilets, and be able to run them, because this is happening all over the world. You go to places, you want to use the toilet, you drop a coin, and people earn a living out of it.
One of the big achievement has been the sector is now provided with data. Data that can help plan, see where the problems are, target the problem, address them, and solve them. And Nigeria is one of these countries with a rich data given the landscape of the water sector.
The Federal Ministry of Water Resources has done a lot to collaborate with Kwara State in terms of helping it solve some of these problems. When the minister was making presentation and he was mentioning the state, he didn't even mention Kwara State. And I know he has done a lot of things in Kwara State.
Guests, however, raised concerns in the areas of poor funding of the sector, inefficient management of the nation's dams, and inability of some states and local government to key into the federal government's efforts. They urged the sub-national governments to complement the federal government towards increasing access to water supply for the populace. In Abuja, Thomas Ogbetere, NTA News.
All right, we're done with Nationwide. We do well. Appreciate your company with us. But remember to stand against rape and rapists. I'm Ruth Aguele, but please we advise that you stay tuned to the NTA, because coming up immediately is the opening ceremony of Bauchi Pilgrims Camp at the Bauchi Airport. Stay tuned.